Okay, hello guys, this is me, and I'm posting my first video on doing the oil change in the filter and all of that in the stator cover gasket. I have to do this voice afterwards because my camera was covered in a waterproof thing. But now I'm cracking loose the drain bolt, which was very chewed up, and I had to get it replaced, and I was doing the stator cover, so I figured might as well do the oil and filter too. Right here, I'm just twisting it off. Better be careful if you're doing this yourself because you don't want to put an impact on it. Because you get it in there, it might not work. And yeah, so I'm just twisting it off right here. Now the oil, I thought it looked bad, and it hasn't been changed since about in the 2010s. But my dad pointed out to me that it's thick, which is good, because if it was thin, that would mean there was gas and water that could have gotten in there, which is a bad sign. But it looks pretty good, so yeah, it's pretty good.
That means there's no oil or there's no gas or water in it.
Now, right now, I'm inspecting that little filter, and right there I see a few big chunks, which I wasn't too pleased about, but, you know, I bought the 4-wheeler in Marketplace and all that, did some work on it, so it's probably just fine for right now. I figured it was just from a bad shift or something that had happened. And right there, I'm preparing the new one to go in. And it was a little tough. Right now, and as I was doing that, I was using two hands to get it on. As I started to use two hands to get it on because it was spring-loaded. It was a little tough. It was a brand new spring. Oil dripping everywhere. So I had to get that second hand in there to get it placed right. I didn't want to cross-thread it because then there would just be no point of putting that new one in there. And, yeah, so far it's going pretty well. And I was liking the support y'all are giving me on my dog, Doug and Jack. My dogs, Doug and Jack, R.I.P. And my 4-wheeler edits. Thank y'all so much for that. And I hope y'all like it. If y'all have any suggestions in the comments, please let me know. I will be sure to do that. And as of now, I'm tightening it up. Pretty much hand tightened as tight as I could. I didn't want to go too hard because if I snapped it, just be in the same situation all over again. Because I had to use an extractor to get it off the first time. Now I got it pretty well hand tightened up. Now I'm checking out the oil. I didn't find that it looked a little shiny at first and glittery, which isn't a good sign. I mean, it's got metal flakes. But then I dipped my finger in there a few times. Didn't seem to have anything really too bad in there, which that's obviously a good sign, meaning we don't have that bad a wear. It just looked like we had a few gear chunks, which I'm hoping isn't going to be too bad, but the thing is due for a motor replacement soon anyways. It's been ridden hard its whole life, and pretty hard since I've ridden it, missing shifts, learning how to ride clutch on it, and all of that. And now I'm inspecting more, and I actually got poked on my finger because it was some really sharp little shards of probably gears. And right now, I'm preparing to take the stator cover off. And there was a few bolts. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I set the camera back down. And now I'm getting an 8mm long or deep well socket on there with a ratchet just to break them loose. And I broke them loose, and now I'm hitting it with a dead blow, trying to wiggle it away because it's probably been on there for about a year since the last person replaced the stator. Got a screwdriver in there. You don't really want to get a screwdriver in there, but I was just trying to find a little bit of an open hole. Now, I finally got it off, then realizing I had to take off that plastic cover. Which, after I got that off, my dad came over and helped me so that I could align everything after I took the bolt out with an impact so that nothing got messed up or routed different when I put it all back together. Now, right there, here I am. I'm coming back. I had to take this. There's this little plate there, which I actually forgot to install. And after I put the oil on, I had to put it back on. So once you're putting that back on, don't forget about that little plate. It's super hard to forget, and I did. I had to take that plastic cover off after I did all of it. So there I'm taking it off, and I wanted to be cautious that this little spacer that I marked wouldn't drop in that dirty oil, which I still have there just in case any other oil leaks out. I don't want to clean it up off the floor. And so I was going out trying to get the spacer off of it. And so far this has been going well. If you like the video, or if you guys like the video, please like it, maybe comment, just so I can get this out to people who may need a guide on how to do this, because I'm fortunate enough to have somebody who taught me how to do some of this stuff, and I have the equipment to show other people how to do it. So thank you guys very much for that. Now, right there, I was doing that, and after this, I just prepped all of everything, taking all the old gasket material off, and I'm prepping everything now, starting to prep it. And I was using brake clean, probably not the best idea, but I had to get the surfaces clean, in which I wiped all of them out with a lint-free rag to make sure that none of the brake clean got too far deep into the engine where it could not evaporate and it would actually do some harm. Now, there is supposed to be oil in this part, but I had no oil in it, so I didn't have to worry about contamination of that. I just had to wipe everything out really well. I'm cleaning everything off really well because I want those gaskets to stick really nice, because it would really suck if I put all that back together and it still was leaking from there when it gets hot. Because the original problem was after it got hot and oil got thinner, it seeped out. So now I was talking to my dad, contemplating what to do, and now we start to use RTV or gasket makers, which they're two different things, but they kind of do the same thing. Now, as my dad was saying here, wash your hands after using this stuff. He did it because he's been doing it for a while, and sometimes me and him trade rules in what we do on working on stuff. Now, he does this, which you want to be careful, do it on a cardboard surface, and wash your hands immediately after, or at the least, wipe them off very well. Now, as we finish getting this on the one side, we're going to stick it onto the case with the dowel pins aligned. And once we do that, and I got to wipe off the surfaces on this one, which that is an Amazon stator, which proves the theory that they were in with the stator. Now, that's the rubber grommet that I believe was leaking because they did not put it on right last time they did it. Probably because there's Amazon, nothing ever really just fits right from there. And so there we go, putting my dowel pin in, right about to put the gasket on. Now, I had a little bit of trouble at first because I didn't have it seated exactly, perfectly. And now here we are, going to put the gasket on. Okay, so now me and my dad are trying to get the gasket in the right spot. He had it backwards, so I flipped it around because you got to make sure the dowel pins align and everything aligns well so you don't get gasket maker literally everywhere. Now, we finally got it aligned and seated properly. And now I'm talking about this rubber grommet that I thought was leaking, which I do not know. It might have been leaking. And so I wanted to see if we couldn't get some extra gasket maker on it. And now we are going and putting gasket maker around the edges. Same as last time. Wash your hands when you're dealing with this crap. It is very bad for your hands. And yeah. So now we're coating it all decently thin layers, kind of just like finger painting, and going around it. And while we're going around it, I would like to thank you for making it this far into the video, for watching me get into my shenanigans. Thank you all very much for that. Now back to the video. There's a grommet. Got a lot on that one just to make sure that it would seat properly. Yep, and there's a second hit at it, and we're almost ready to rock and roll to get back, put it right back on. I had my dad help me with this part because it's gasket maker, and I didn't have a gasket, or I did not have the surfaces fully prepped. Now, here we are fully on and ready, fully seated. After it was all aligned, and they're going to check that. Just giving it maybe a few little love taps with the dead blow, just to make sure that it gets seated properly. And there we go. And right after that, had to get that little spacer in the teeth, right in the middle. Had to get that on, which I have off camera, which that's not on the camera. Now we're fully aligned here, and I start to put some of the bolts in, which was hard because they all were different lengths. So I had to take a few out, put a few in, make sure they didn't bottom out, and make sure everywhere had a good bolt. And then I was putting some of the bolts in. Now I was ratcheting down. I did 3 on one side, which you're not supposed to do. I would do 1 on one side, 1 on the other, and keep going like that until you fully reach a circle. Because that doesn't allow you to see properly, which I wasn't thinking properly until it was about this one that I realized I should probably start doing the other ones so that I didn't seat the gasket wrong. And so now I switched over and started to hit them down. These are 8mm bolts, and they're very small, so I didn't want to snap them. So I did them to the best of my ability without snapping them, because that would just cause a very big problem for me. And it was all pretty easy. If y'all have any suggestions of what I should work on next, or trying to show y'all what to do, or any edit suggestions or anything, please let me know in the comments. And if you don't mind, leave a like, maybe sub. See if I can't get this video to some people who find this kind of content interesting. Thanks. Now I'm giving them all just a little bit of a snug down, just to make sure that they're all nice and ready to roll. And some of these ones were a little hard to get. Didn't want to strip the heads off them, which would have made another very big problem. And now I'm cleaning off everything, really. And there's a spacer right in the middle of all that. I'll try to get a circle in there for you. If I can't, I'm sorry about that. And so we got that spacer. I'm just using brake clean to clean off all of every surface around it, just to make sure that we're good to go. Now, here I am. I had to wipe off camera because that was after I did the oil change, because I did the filter, and there's that clip that I forgot to put in, and I also forgot to put in the bolt, so I had to redo that a few times. But I lost the footage of me putting the oil filter in. I don't know how, and I also lost footage of me putting the oil in, which it takes about 3 quarts from empty. I lost all of that footage, and I'm sorry about that. But I basically changed the filter, and popped it right back in, and then filled it up with oil. And this is a plastic cover that has no issue with that. So right in there, I had to take off that plastic cover again, put the bolt on, which you want to give it maybe a light snug with the impact. Not really light, but like a burp burp. Or you could use the torque spec like you're supposed to, but I don't really care that much. So right here, I was trying to get the bolts, and I think I dropped one at one point, but I don't really know. And I got them both in and threaded on. Now I gave them a little pop with the impact. And I'm tightening on this plastic cover. And I lost some of the other footage. So if y'all liked the video, thank you very much for the support on the YouTube Shorts. Thank y'all very much for watching, and bye. Thank y'all if you're still watching and if you finished the video. In the bottom left corner of most of this video, it is going to have a date for 2024. That is when this camera was first manufactured, and that is why it says that. Thanks for watching.